Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's Spec coming at you again. Just finished up my video with Ring of Honor. Threw those clothes off. Now I've put on my WrestleMania attire, the same attire that I wore to the event in Atlanta this past Sunday. Just yesterday, I'm back here in Spartanburg after an awesome weekend at WrestleMania. Wow, how can I, begin? Your friends who are wrestling fans who have been to WrestleMania will tell you you haven't experienced WrestleMania until you're there live. And it's just not the day of WrestleMania. It's the entire weekend of the festivities and everything. Now, granted, I didn't do Access, although I will do it next year because I'm planning to go to WrestleMania 28 in Miami next year. But I didn't do it this year. I did almost everything else besides that. The Ring of Honor. I didn't go to Dragon Deck Gate, which I really wish I did. Just, did not have the time to actually go ahead and do that. Um, I went to several of the WrestleMania functions that they were having in Atlanta. Just small little stuff like that, but really nothing that was, you know, over the top. I went to the Hall of Fame. Um, I went to the several tents that they had, displayed around the entire Centennial Park area in Atlanta, which was really, really close to the Georgia Dome and Phillips Arena, and the show itself. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you're ever going to a WrestleMania, specifically if it's going to be in a huge dome, there's really nothing like it. The experience is just awesome. It's one of those things where you really can't describe in full detail. You just got to give pointers about. I mean, everybody is there. It seems like every wrestling fan that had, that wanted to go to, that wanted inspired to go to WrestleMania, want to go there. Whether it's kids, whether it's women, whether it's guys, it really doesn't matter. Everybody is so hyped up, and it's all about the hype. And I got to tell you, the WWE delivered on everything. The hype was there, and the WWE delivered. If you didn't come away from WrestleMania pleased and fulfilled, then I don't know how you can. I just don't know how you can be fulfilled. Um, the as soon as you walk in there, to the festivities, whether it's FanFest or whether it's something else or whether it's WrestleMania itself, you're going to be entertained, and I was thoroughly entertained. Um, the Georgia Dome, I have to give major props to them because they did an absolutely phenomenal job of putting on the event itself. Um, the whole city was first class. If you want to disregard the parking, which I knew was going to be problematic anyway, um, and some of the other events that were taking place, as well as WrestleMania, the city did a phenomenal job in terms of getting ready for the event. I thought that the WWE, their presentation, their willingness, and um, and their foresight in planning all of this stuff is phenomenal. And once I walked into the Georgia Dome, and I was one of the first ones to actually get in there. A couple of friends of mine, we walked right into, I think it was D Gate D, where the floors and stuff are located. Um, we walked right in. We walked in right in there, probably about a good 4 or 5 minutes right after they opened the gates. So that was really good because the lines were huge. If for pointers for anyone that's going to WrestleMania in the future, if you're going to the actual show, make sure you arrive at least 4 or 5 hours earlier. Camp out, do whatever you want to do, have fun around your surroundings, but make sure you get there early so the parking will not be a factor. And I was able to get there early, about 4 hours before the event took place, which was great, around 2 o'clock. They opened the gates about 4:30 or 30ish or so. So we were able to get into the concession stands and all that other stuff, and things sold out really quick, as they did with Access from I believe. But once I walked in there into the Georgia Dome and walked right to my seat, and I was sitting on the risers, I had really great seats. I was literally right behind the floor seats. So I was really technically on the floor, but on risers. And I was in section B, which, I was in section B, seat 3 on 106R, which was like the second row of risers that was straight ahead, dead center of the entrance way, which was awesome. I'm so glad I was able to get those kind of seats. Never really thought they would be as great as they were. I mean, right before I headed off to the Georgia Dome, I looked up on StubHub and they were going for now about $1,000 a pop. So those were awesome seats. Next year, I'm determined to get floor seats closer to the ring so I can take home that awesome chair. So that's my next goal. But once you're at a WrestleMania live and in person, you got to go to more. I mean, watching it at home doesn't do its justice. Probably, and I'm going to talk about the whole card in a second. But after I finish, before I finish up here with just the experience itself, pre WrestleMania wise, um, once you go to one WrestleMania, you got to go to another because I mean it's literally our Super Bowl if you're a big wrestling fan. It's our creme de la creme. It's our number one, show of the year. Go to one if you got the time, if you got the money to do it. You owe it to yourself to do it and treat yourself that way. And I'm darn sure glad that I did. Okay, but besides the great set that was there, the live atmosphere, the Atlanta crowd was hot all night long. The show itself was phenomenal. Now, other people may have different opinions about watching it on television. They may say the announcers were really great and blah 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 blah. That's not us with the live fan. We're not there to experience the announcers. We don't hear the announcers. We're just looking at the show itself, listening to the crowd reaction, participating in the crowd reaction, and so on and so forth. And that WrestleMania was awesome. One of my favorite WrestleManias of all time. Not just because I was there, but the quality of matches were really, really great. The only thing probably I did not like was the fact that they made the United States Championship match between Daniel Bryan and Sheamus the pre-match. So you guys and gals were not able to see it if you saw it on pay-per-view. But that match was really good. And then Teddy Long comes in, and they made it a lumberjack match. So you had guys from SmackDown and guys from Raw who were surrounding the ring. Daniel Bryan and Sheamus were right there in the center of it wrestling. Teddy Long came out, and one of the biggest pops of the night, literally, when Teddy Long came out. They were over. He was way over with the crowd. And I don't know if that has anything to do with his days with Doom or whatnot, but he was massively over. And we had Teddy Long come down. He basically said, "All right, we're gonna make this a non-title United States Championship match, and instead of this being a title match, we're gonna make it a battle royal. So it was like a traditional battle royal for WrestleMania. And to make a long story short, Great Khali threw Sheamus over the top rope, and he eventually won the battle royal. It was really, really well done, and it was a great way to hype up the show, to open up the show. Um, so, after all that took place, WrestleMania begins, and we had the national anthem song, great R&B singer, can't remember her name right now, Kelly something, I can't remember. Um, she great rendition of the America the Beautiful, excuse me, great rendition of America the Beautiful. Um, After that, The Rock came out and cut one heck of a promo. It was awesome. I was marking out like crazy. Rock's my favorite WWE wrestler of all time. I had to mark out. It was great. Um, he did this one bit where he said, um, uh, I say yabba, you guys say dabba. And it was back and forth. Cena was detested in Atlanta by at least 75% of the crowd. I'm not sure how it came out on pay-per-view, but before the show and even during the show, I mean, John Cena was despised by so many people. And they were so hyped up for The Rock, and I don't blame them. I was the same way. Um, and it was just, hey, it was a great experience to see The Rock come out the show. I had a feeling he was going to start the show and open it up. And I don't blame the WWE for doing that. I think it was a great move that they did do that, because it got us anticipated, it got us hyped up even more than what we originally were. And we were able, basically for the most part, to see The Rock just be himself, and be the entertainer that we all like him to be. Be the guy that hypes up everything. And he was a great host. I love that concept, and I hope they don't continue the concept with other hosts. Only The Rock could really do that. Um, so after The Rock hypes up everything, we have the promo pack, the promo package and stuff like that come on. Everybody's hyped up to see the entrance, not to the entrance, but the beginning package video of WrestleMania, which is always great, and it was great this year. So the festivities begin with the World Heavyweight Championship match. Alberto Del Rio and Edge face off against each other. No one saw that coming. So when that happened, I was really like, wow. And those two pulled off a great match. Alberto Del Rio was way over. Edge was massively over. And Christian as well coming down. I was a little surprised that Brodus Clay was not announced during the beginning portions of the show to open things up. He had just happened to be at ringside with Ricardo Rodriguez, who played his role really well. A little disappointed that Del Rio didn't win the championship, but hey, when you're there live, you see Edge winning, and the way he won, it was kind of like vindication for all the stuff Del Rio had put him through. And it was really nice to see Edge finally win at WrestleMania and win a world championship match at WrestleMania. The guy kind of deserves it. He's been in several championship matches, and he's come off the losing end on several of those. I think all of them in terms of the World Heavyweight Championship. So it was good to see Edge walk away as the champion. I wonder what they're going to do with Del Rio, but I still think that Del Rio is going to win that championship fairly soon. Um, the guy's going to be the world champion at some point. It's just obvious that they're going to push him to that point. Edge, destroy Edge and Christian both did like a conscruto instead of a concerto by taking those huge steel hooks and just scratching the heck out of Del Rio's awesome ride. And I thought that was pretty. That was pretty interesting. Um, but Del Rio, it was a classic heel face match where the heel gets his comeuppance. Um, you know, after that match, we had several other good stuff that took place. Cody Rhodes and Rey Mysterio was a great match. Apparently, from what I was hearing, and the rumblings that were going on during WrestleMania weekends, that Cody Rhodes was wearing his mask the entire time in Atlanta during WrestleMania weekend, which I thought, man, that's awesome, old school stuff. But Ray came out with his great attire as usual during WrestleMania, interesting, and he eventually sold. He did a great job at selling his leg and his knee leg injury, whatever you want to call it. He did a great job at selling that, and Cody Rhodes did a fantastic job of selling his gimmick. The match, I said it before, was going to be much better than many people thought, and it was. It delivered. Cody Rhodes, awesome performer, and I expect huge things from Cody Rhodes in the future in the WWE. I think he's their next breakout star, next breakout heel wrestler. Look for great things from Cody Rhodes as the year progresses here in 2011. Um, Other great matches, that were part of the card. The eight, I wouldn't necessarily call this a great match, but it did what it needed to do. The 8-man tag team match. Many of you don't know, Kozlov was off the show selling the injury that occurred on FanFest where the core attacked him, and Kofi Kingston, who was the rightfully deserved guy to be in that match, substituted for him. Kofi received the biggest pop out of anybody that was there in that match, but Kofi ended up um, playing a huge role in the outcome of the match. It was really a squash kind of like match. I feel bad for the core, but I don't know really what you can say about the core. They're just a bunch of they're a hodgepodge of guys that WWE just throw together, and they think that there's going to be a huge breakout star with them. Um, I don't know how long this group is going to last. I mean, the WWE didn't even mention the tag that they didn't even mention the tag titles or the Intercontinental title during the entrance of the core, which tells you a lot about what they think about those belts. And the fact that the core, group of guys, except for Ezekiel Jackson, who they've been, Slater, Heath Slater, and Justin Gabriel, and Wade Barrett, three guys who the WWE has been building for a year now to be squashed at WrestleMania for as fast as they were, is a little suspect. But and I guess they were just